Okay, so one of the most heartbreaking things that I see with those of us who get herpes is that people will just like completely take themselves out of the dating world. Two things actually: removing yourself from the dating scene, and the other one is just like deciding that you're gonna settle for anyone who accepts your herpes status. I want you to think about like if you had herpes orally, which I know people who have it orally can struggle in their own ways. And literally most humans have that, whether they get cold sores or not. Like I probably have it too. But when you have it orally, you wouldn't think about the fact that like you can never make out with someone again, you can never date someone again, no one's gonna accept you, and you have to settle. And that's because we don't stigmatize it the same way or even understand it the same way, but we are just as much at risk of getting it genitally from people who have it orally. Unless you don't engage in oral, but like, you have to remember that with herpes, you are not contagious most of the time. And I know that we think about and fear the whole viral shedding thing, but we only shed an estimated 5 to 20% of the year. And that varies from person to person. It depends on how often you get flare-ups and just your specific immune system. And shedding is the one that's hard to get our head around because like we can't really control it and we don't necessarily know when we're shedding. That's why we disclose to partners. Because at any point in time, there could be a small risk, but that 80 to 95% of the time, you're not contagious and you're not shedding. So the chances that someone is going to get herpes from you, even if you're not taking any precautions, is still pretty low. Most people are getting and transmitting herpes not knowing that they have it and not recognizing their symptoms when they get them because they can be so mild. You as a person who's aware of your status can do so much to protect your partner that someone who's unaware can't. Like avoiding activity when you feel a flare-up coming on, and sometimes you can feel you're shedding if you're getting like symptoms prior to a flare-up, but the flare-up just never comes. You can assume you're shedding then. Doing that reduces the risk a whole lot. Also, just like being on antivirals daily, which some people are, reduces it greatly. Using protection, even though it's not foolproof because it depends on where you have it, but that still reduces the risk greatly. People still kiss and make out and date with people who get cold sores, even knowing that they get them. There's absolutely no reason that you should remove yourself from dating just because you have it below. You can do and enjoy everything in exactly the same way. And just because there's more of a stigma based on where you have it, that's only going to weed out uneducated, ignorant partners. But trust me when I tell you that most of them, offline and off TikTok troll culture, don't care. I have pulled the hottest people since getting herpes and since being single with it. It doesn't make a difference. But your energy and perspective around it will.
So apart from my very first flare-up, which was very uncomfortable and painful, I don't typically have pain or discomfort during my recurring flare-ups because they're so much milder. Like right now, the one that I have is like a little blister in my butt crack. Honestly, most of the pain or discomfort comes from like wiping in that area because you're wiping it. Or if you're peeing and your pee hits it when it's like an active blister, because that can sting. Otherwise, I'm not really feeling it. But something you can do about the pee thing is dilute your pee by drinking lots of water or pour water down as you're peeing. With wiping, it helps me sometimes to use like a wet wipe instead because it's smoother. And if you're generally just having pain and irritation, especially if it's your first flare-up, antivirals definitely help for that. And then so do over-the-counter pain meds like an Advil kind of thing. Also just keeping things loose and friction-free, like not wearing tight clothes that rub against it.
If you saw my video previous to this one, it was like a long update on like where I'm at with my herpes flare-ups because I like to give you guys like all the info. Okay, so number one thing I notice that happens is I get tired. But that's kind of hard to tell, right? Because like I could be tired any day. But that one, not so reliable. The next symptom that comes, like clockwork, is I get itchy right in the spot where it's going to show up. And you're just like, why am I itchy? Nothing else seems off down there. It also comes for me after my period. So sometimes I'm like, it's just things coming back to balance after. That's why I'm itchy. No, it's not. Then I get like this burning skin feeling in the larger vicinity where it's going to show up. It's after that that I start to get a little bump. And then that bump will usually blister and heal. So the whole thing lasts like maybe 3 to 4 days off antivirals. The thing is, if I catch it in one of those really early stages and take antivirals, which I did this time, it will prevent the flare-up from coming. Like I'm already having a flare-up, but the skin part. Okay, bye.